We're now live on YouTube, chat.
Thank you, Ed. Thank you very much, and good evening, everybody. Welcome to this Cabinet meeting, the 14th of October 2020. Moving straight into the agenda, I'm not aware that we have any apologies or indeed any absences. Have we had any apologies at all?
None received, Chair.
Thank you, Catherine. Then minutes. We have two sets of minutes to look at, and we're seeking your confirmation for. The first is of our meeting on the 9th of September 2020. Does anybody have any comments or observations that they would like, or corrections they would like to raise in respect of those minutes? Can I ask if they're... Thank you, Phil. Is that agreed?
Agreed.
Thank you very much indeed. The next set of minutes we have, which is by virtue of the fact that we have two because we had a special or exceptional meeting, Wednesday the 23rd of September. Again, does anybody have any alterations they would like to propose to those minutes?
Propose they be accepted, Chair.
Thank you again, Phil. Is that agreed?
Agreed.
Agreed.
Thank you. That moves us on then to deputations. Sorry, we have no intention to hold any part of this evening's meeting in private. So moving on to deputations and public addresses. I'll just check again with Catherine, but I'm not aware we've any speakers registered. Can you confirm that, Catherine?
No speakers registered, Chair.
Thank you once again. So we come to declarations of interest. Anna?
Yeah, I will leave item A as I'm director for Northampton Leisure Trust. So I'll leave the meeting then.
Okay, thank you very much. Does any other member of the Cabinet have any declarations of interest for items on the agenda? No, thank you. We have no issues this evening that arising from overview and scrutiny committees to consider. So we'll move straight to our main item. This is item 7. This one's with James Hill. No speakers coming in after you, James. So we just ask you to run us through or highlight some of the key points, further updates to the local council development scheme. Over to you, James.
Thank you, Chair. So as members will know, the local development scheme is the project management plan for the local plan part 2, and it's a legal requirement for the council to have an up-to-date LDS to accompany the local plan, and the inspector will check that this makes sure that in the run-up to the local plan examination. So we need to have an updated LDS for two main reasons. At the time of preparation in May 2020, edition of the LDS, it is expected that round 2 consultation on the local plan part 2 proposed submission would have been completed during August 2020. In practice, it is agreed that this consultation period would be extended by 2 weeks to allow for organisations to sign off their responses during the holiday period. And secondly, significant changes to the use class order were introduced on the 1st of September. The main effect has been the introduction of the new Class E, as set out in paragraph 3.22 of the report. A consequence of this has been there will no longer be a requirement for planning permission to change between the premises between these uses. And this has obviously had an impact on the wording of certain policies in the emerging local plan, and time is needed to consider whether these impacts may and how they might need to be addressed. So the revised LDS has been altered to allow for the impact of these issues, and we'll have on the timing of the submission of the local plan part 2 to the Secretary of State, which we expected will be in late January, early February 2021 next year. And the consequent knock-on effects for when the estimated that the examination public is taking place, which again will hopefully happen in May, June 2021. And the revised timings are set out on pages 9 and 10 of the local development scheme, which is appended in this report. I propose the recommendations, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, James. That's great. Would anybody like to make any comments or ask any questions on this item? No? No, I don't see any hands. For those of us who perhaps haven't seen our Cabinet meetings before, these are not the first time we see these reports. We spend some time reviewing drafts. That's part of our governance. So the fact that nobody has no comments doesn't mean that a lot of work hasn't gone into it, both by the Cabinet and, of course, by the officers involved. But again, I still don't see any hands. So in which case, I'll probably draw your attention to the recommendations. As always, that's section 2. Can I just ask you to confirm your agreement to the recommendations, please?
Agreed.
Agreed.
Agreed. That's agreed. Thank you very much. Takes us on to item 8. Let me say cheerio to Anna. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you.
So this one is with Tim. It's the capital update for leisure about fixed plant and machinery, renewal for Danes Camp and Mounts Bath and Lings Forum. Tim, over to you.
Just picking up on your earlier comment, Leader, members will be thoroughly familiar with this programme, which has been running for some time. The last major report was in May to provide funds to carry out repairs to all the leisure centres. This is now what I suppose could be described as the nitty-gritty, in that we're now getting down to detail of how that will be dealt with. And in this case, we're now talking about putting the works into a number of packages so that they can be properly scheduled for the minimum of disruption, and also bearing in mind the fact that they cover a number of different specialities. And CJR have been appointed from within our framework to coordinate all that work. This report goes on to set out the detail. Probably the only thing to note is that in terms of Lings Forum, it takes account of the fact that we hope that Lings Forum has a limited life. We want to make sure that it stays alive to the bitter end, but of course will hopefully be overtaken by the Western Fayville Wellbeing Hub, which is an exciting development on that part of town. So mindful of that, the payback for all the repairs on Lings Forum will be around 5 years to take account of that, so that we're not overspending on it. The detail of all the others is there, starting with replacement of the hired-in boilers at Mounts Baths, which is really urgent. And everything's contained in the two recommendations, one to delegate to the acting director in consultation with others on the grant of the various contracts, and then at 2.2 to budget for a maximum of £25,000 on specialist legal advice if necessary. So a really good move forward. The sense of urgency is very much there, Leader, and I commend the recommendations to Cabinet.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you very much indeed. Very concise summary. As you say, very familiar with this and very supportive of this work going ahead. It'll help enhance the quality of the facilities for our residents. Does anybody want to ask any questions of Tim or make any further comments on this item at all?
I could just add one comment, Leader, if I may. The Mounts Baths, as we well know, was built in the 1930s and is a fine listed building. And I'm sure in the 1930s, they would never have envisaged putting in something like local comfort cooling. So that's progress for you.
It absolutely is. Absolutely is. Thank you, Tim. Thank you very much. Good. I still see no hands, in which case, as Tim has already done, I'll draw your attention again to the recommendations at section 2. Just ask you to confirm your agreement to those recommendations, please.
Very happy to agree.
Agreed.
Very good. Agreed. Fantastic. Thank you. I think I've seen a signal from everybody there. That was our last item, as a consequence to which we'll draw the meeting to a close, and thank you all very much indeed for your attendance this evening. Thank you.